One of the happiest moments on my YouTube channel was the video I made back in 2018? Yeah, the 2018 NHL Entry Draft. I was at home here, just sitting in my room, recording videos, reaction videos to the draft. I chose doing this instead of actually going to my friend's place and watching the draft with a few high school friends because we were just graduating. I think the draft was on the day of our last day of high school, something like that. And one of the most elated I've ever been on this YouTube channel in a video was the day Quinn Hughes was drafted. Not the day Quinn Hughes was drafted, but the moment he was drafted, because we made several videos that day. You could see the reaction on my channel. I kind of want to go out there and tease it because I don't want to put it right here, right? It's my prepubescent 18-year-old voice coming in here and taking over the show, and I don't really like that, so you can go ahead, listen to that if you want. But Quinn Hughes getting drafted by the Vancouver Canucks was extremely exciting for me because this guy was going to be the face of our D-Corps. He was supposed to be that and more. Even though he was small, he was a fluid skater, a guy who could play make like crazy from the blue line, and for the University of Michigan Wolverines, he was just an absolute stud. Well, it's been a few years. And now Quinn Hughes is in the NHL, and he's doing fantastically. But going back over to that Wolverine system, going back over to the University of Michigan, there is indeed another player who is having such a big impact on this blue line today that New Jersey Devils fans everywhere are getting super excited, and for good reason. Let's talk today about Quinn Hughes' younger brother Luke. Because when it comes to what he has been doing for the Michigan Wolverines on their blue line, it's nothing short of extraordinary. So, if we go over to Luke Hughes and we take a look at the profile over here, many Devils fans already are familiar with the profile Hughes brings because he is the younger brother as well of their number one center, Jack Hughes. Luke Hughes, though, 18 years old, 6'2", 185, he's a left-handed defenseman. He is the tallest, the biggest amongst all the Hughes brothers, which is kind of funny, but you know what? It is kind of how it works, right? Usually the oldest amongst the family or of the children is the smallest, and then you get bigger as you get younger. It's kind of weird how it works out, but still, Quinn Hughes is like 5'10" or whatever. Jack Hughes is also 5'10", and then you have Luke, who is 6'2". He was bigger than these guys ever since he was like 15, 16 years old, so he was always kind of in that territory where it was like, okay, he kind of skates like Quinn, or he can skate nearly as good as Quinn, but he also is a little bit bigger, so we'll see where exactly he goes with his development. And this season he's playing in his first year for the NCAA's Michigan Wolverines. In 31 games played, he has himself 31 points and 15 goals as well, which is astonishing, really, because when you take a look at the records that he has been going out there and breaking, Luke Hughes has broken a 45-year-old Michigan program record for freshman defensive goals in a season. He did this with his 14th goal on the year the other day, which happened to be against Ohio State. This was yesterday. He then scored a second goal in that game, putting him up to 15 total goals on the year, cementing himself in this status of being a record breaker for Michigan. Now, if you go over what Luke Hughes has done in his NCAA season this year compared to Quinn, it's kind of funny because if you take a look at the goals scored in Michigan, Quinn Hughes in 70 games played, so 2 full seasons of Michigan hockey, had himself 10 total goals. Luke Hughes in 30 games has 13. Now 14. He has himself a total of 15 now in 31 games, and I mean, if you take a look at how everything has gone about, sure, Quinn Hughes has had himself a very good profile in the NCAA and the NHL, of course. Luke is a lot more of a goal scorer. This tweet by Art Vandelay kind of summarizes it up nicely. Yes, Luke has more goal-scoring chops, whereas Quinn is and will be the better passer and playmaker. Quinn had 52 assists in 69 games, which is a .75 assists per game marker at Michigan, whereas Luke has 16 in 30, .53 assists per game. Similar but different games, both are a lot fun to watch though. Now, when it comes to defensively, because that is one of the replies on this little tweet over here, Luke Hughes is a guy that was honestly really polished defensively from the get-go. Quinn Hughes was a guy that, in my opinion, his defensive game had a lot more to gain over the years, and we saw that really this season in the NHL. A lot of what made Quinn Hughes so good as a defenseman was just the fact that he had the puck in his stick so much that he didn't really need to defend. That was also one of the main things that he had when the 2018 World Championships were going on. He was Team USA's prize defenseman, even though he was undrafted, and he was out there playing against Connor McDavid, shifting against this guy, and they actually asked him about that. Hey, what was it like being a player that is from the college scene? You're going up against NHL talent, you're going up against McDavid. How do you feel that shaped you and all that? And he's like, yeah, well, I didn't let up a goal, so that's kind of how he defends, you know? Quinn Hughes just has the puck in his stick all the time, and that's how he makes his defense. Last season in the NHL for Vancouver, it was really rough. The team was bad. There was an entire pandemic that struck the team, and Quinn Hughes was being exposed for his defensive deficiencies at the time. He was a bad plus-minus rating and everything, and eventually he was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to work on that. Now this season, he's been an absolute beast defensively, back-checking like crazy, really getting into his opponent's faces, stealing the puck left and right. And so Quinn has really adapted defensively. Luke, on the other hand, has a little bit more to go through, but ever since his NTDP days, I think a lot of people kind of felt that Luke was a very solidified, fluid player in his own zone as well, even though his offensive prowess was just that gosh darn good. Now, when Luke Hughes actually makes the NHL, we'll see how he's able to develop, but as a fluid skating 6'2" guy, he definitely shouldn't have too much of a transition to go through. It's actually kind of funny because if you take a look at Quinn Hughes in his rookie season in the Michigan Wolverines program, he had himself 29 points in 37 games played. And Luke Hughes is on pace to besting that. Now, I get it, Quinn Hughes was actually a late October birthday in '99, so he was sort of able to get in there a little bit earlier, like he was playing his draft year in the NCAA. Meanwhile, Luke Hughes has made the NCAA in his draft plus 1 year. So there is a little bit of a disparity there. Also, Luke Hughes is one of the youngest players in the entire 2021 NHL Entry Draft, so there's an entire extra year that he has of development over Quinn, but you also have to take a look, if you want to go out there and try to make comparables, at the teams themselves, because for the University of Michigan this season, Luke Hughes is one of many elite talents suiting up. Beniers for the Seattle Kraken, Brendan Brisson for the Golden Knights, Ken Johnson, Columbus Blue Jackets, Thomas Bordelot, San Jose Sharks. Of course, you have Owen Power over there for the Sabres. Mackie Samaskevich is there too. Dylan Duke, Jacob Truscott. You have some pretty good players for the University of Michigan. Today, at least. And if you go over to Quinn Hughes and Quinn's first University of Michigan year, the best player was Cooper Marody, who, I mean, it's Cooper Marody, right? So it's not really the best player out there, especially compared to Matty Beniers and Brendan Brisson and Ken Johnson. So the team that Luke Hughes is playing on is a lot better than the team that Quinn Hughes was playing on, but nevertheless, it still is to be noted how much of an impact Luke Hughes has had on this team. Broken all the records for goals and all that. He is on pace to probably break in some other record by the time the season comes down, but either way, Luke Hughes, New Jersey Devils fans are going out there and getting super excited for this guy, and for good reason as well. It really brings up a conversation as to what the Vancouver Canucks and New Jersey Devils have in store for each other, because these two teams have been sort of in the midst of trade talks. You talk about Brock Besser, you talk about Pavel Zacha, you talk about Connor Garland. I've been seeing a lot of Devils fans saying exactly what it is I thought they were going to say. Okay, screw Besser, screw Connor Garland, I want Quinn Hughes. Give me Quinn! And to be fair, I know a lot of Canucks fans are going to be pissed off by that entire idea because there's no way Vancouver is going to be trading Quinn Hughes anytime soon. The guy's locked down for a while for a reason. He is probably already the best defenseman the Canucks have ever had. And as for Luke coming into the NHL soon, it appears that he is on a profile that says that he might be better. Who really knows? We already made that video a few years ago talking about how scouting reports in 2018 said that Luke was already on a path to becoming very good. So, talk to me in the comments what do you think if you're a New Jersey Devils fan about Luke Hughes and his development with the NCAA's Michigan Wolverines this season. Are you excited to see this guy? Have you been watching the Michigan Wolverine games? If you have, what have you been noticing about his play and the way he scores his goals? He's definitely a lot more of a goal scorer than Quinn is. Quinn got his first goal in ages, like the previous game played against San Jose. So, there you go, Vancouver. But Luke Hughes was always the more highly touted goal scorer amongst the defensive brother duo. So let me know in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Charles 99. And bye.